Yeah, definitely. It's funny, like there was that big boom through like the 2000s to maybe 2012, 2015, where like jet ski slab surfing was like all the rage. And then it like for those next 5 years, it became like so uncool. Like even if you were towing like a 20 footer at the ride or shippies where it was like completely warranted and still nuts, it was like you just didn't like get any recognition at all. And now it's almost gone back the other way a little bit. I guess like that's like any trend in surfing. I think it kind of teeters back and forth, like one extreme to the other. So hopefully it's just a little phase and gets pulled up a bit again. But yeah, it's funny. Yeah, you'd get kind of get laughed at if you were towing an 8 footer at Chopes a few years ago. And now, yeah, some pretty like high profile people are doing it. And these,
Yeah. Yeah, it's man, it's interesting. Like you would think that, the heavy hitters that are paddling on a day like that, yourself, Nate Florence, Billy Kemper, Cole Rothman, like the Lokes, Gilbert and Matterhorn and these guys, you would think that no one would want to kind of transgress because of the esteem that you guys are held in. You're at the absolute peak of the sport, and generally in most sports, like the heavy hitters, like the apex predators, kind of set the tone and the culture. But it's surprising to me to see that that it's the way you guys want it to be is not necessarily the way it is right now.
yeah, it's definitely a funny one for sure. And that day, there every 45 minutes to an hour, there was a crazy tow wave. So that was like, yeah, Matei and Gilbert were out waiting for those, and they were getting those as well. So that was yeah, I'd say if they were paddling in the lineup, it would have come to a stop pretty quickly. But yeah, it's kind of I think now like since that everyone might have looked at taken a bit of a look at themselves and maybe they won't do it again. Maybe I'm just hopeful, but I think yeah, the way it was perceived, even in the general public, it's probably not going to be something they'll want to do again if it's like kind of medium sized chubs.
Man, it was just a circus. Like watching on that Surfline broadcast, it looked unbelievably psycho. Just the amount of people in the lineup, all the skis buzzing around at the top, and people paddling on the ledge, and then all the spectators in the channel. Like you've never seen more people in a lineup that psycho before.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. It's like it's yeah, definitely like a one of a kind place that I guess it allows for that. It's got that crazy deep channel and it's so on the spot, but it's yeah, it definitely feels like Waterworld. It's but you do when you paddle and you do go into your own little zone and kind of forget about like it probably looks worse than it feels from the channel and like on a live stream because you're sitting in the lineup and you kind of just blank out the flotilla of boats and people in the channel.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be thinking of anything else as you try and knife one out there. That's for sure.
No,
Um, and yeah, it just trips me out too. Like the amount of argy bargy that must go on in that spectator channel. And you see boats go over the falls, like, I mean, the iconic Pete Frieden going backwards over the falls back in the day. And then there was another one, like whatever it was last year, that dude just kind of avoided it. But like, just people kicking out and hitting jet skis and shit. Like it's freaking, it's something a bit off about it, eh? Like it's like I get that there needs to be broadcasts and photos and that's like a big part of how you guys make a living and how surfing functions and look, I'm watching the broadcast so I can't complain. But at the same time, like when people's safety is being jeopardized and including the surfers as well, like, oh man, it's crazy, eh? We live in a weird world, man. Like there's no laws, there's no rules, so people are just fucking doing their best to like sort it out themselves.
yeah, it's pretty insane. I think it seems like the Tahitian government might be cracking down a bit more on what goes on out there, especially after that boat last year. But yeah, there haven't really been rules put in place yet. But yeah, I'd say it'll take something pretty bad to happen, and then yeah, it'll kind of get regulated a bit more. I'd say,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
the reason it'll they struggle to regulate it is because they don't know how to read swell charts. Like,
Yeah, which yeah, they put it on. It was weird. They put the whole island on that code red alert
oh, they did, yeah.
with like thinking it was going to be huge, which I talked to some people and they thought it was like just like the Tahitian government doing it, like they hadn't put much thought into Chopu. But then other theories were like they were trying to settle down the channel on those big crazy days with how many people were coming in. But yeah, I'm not. I have no idea how it all works behind the scenes, but it definitely did when that was in force for like I think the afternoon when the swell first hit, and then till midday on the tow day. It was like way nicer in the channel. Like a lot of the taxi boats, they'll just take tourists out for a spin, like I don't know, $100 a pop, just like drive a boat full of tourists out, do a couple laps for an hour, and then come in and pick another like 20 people up.
Yeah.
So be making a killing, but when all those taxi boats weren't out there, it was just so much nicer in the channel. It was like a bit more room to breathe for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to begrudge the local Tahitian tuna fisherman like his earn on a day like that, making a little like that money's going a long way.
Definitely. It's definitely, yeah. Like if the locals can profit out of it, it's yeah. At least they're the ones making the bank out of it.
Totally.